My name is Robert James Rashka. I flew the F-4 Phantom in Vietnam in 1968-69. And one of our targets we were hitting was in the southern part of North Vietnam. It was called the Disappearing River. Now, I never knew whether the river disappeared into the cave or it flowed out of the cave. But the cave was about 100 feet wide and maybe about 30, 35, 40 feet tall at the entrance. How far back it went, I don't know, but our job as F-4 pilots were to try to block the entrance to the cave by bombing the mountain top above it and drop rocks into the entrance to hopefully block the cave, because the North Vietnamese would bring their military supplies down the river in barges, and if they didn't get them unloaded before dawn, they hid those barges inside the cave. How big the cave was, I don't know. Anyway, we would come down the river with our F-4s and drop a string of 500-pound bombs against the entrance to the cave, hoping to block it with rocks. Anyway, many years later, in 2019, January 2019, my Vietnamese student and I went back to Vietnam, and we took a trip to northern Vietnam, a guided trip in a car. And one of the places they took us was to the Disappearing River. And that's where I found out that the Disappearing River flowed out of that cave, not into it. And anyway, we went there on a boat with a guide, and once the boat got inside the cave, they had to shut its engine down because they did not allow any engines to operate inside the cave. And it was the cave was, I would guess, about 100 feet, the entrance about 100 feet wide, 30 feet tall, and went back in there about a couple hundred feet. And we paddled into the cave, and it is a national treasure for Vietnam. It's a beautiful spot, and the water flowed out of that cave, as I found out. And it flowed into the cave about 8 miles away at the border of Vietnam and Laos. But the entrance to the cave 8 miles away was a very, very narrow, and it was only about 3-4 feet above the water. So, but coming out, the cave was huge, and a good place to hide barges during wartime, and an absolutely beautiful tourist attraction in peacetime. It was gorgeous inside of that cave. And when we entered the cave, we had a North Vietnamese guide and an interpreter, and I didn't trust either one, so I never did look up to see what my bombs might have done. I know I dropped a string of 500-pound bombs a couple times against the mountainside, and I didn't want to give him the idea that I bombed that beautiful place. Maybe he'd have dumped me out of the boat for all I knew. Anyway, it was a beautiful experience, and that cave is an absolutely gorgeous treasure in Vietnam.